The more we rely on smartphones, the more data we want and the more antennas we need. But at what cost? Workers say they're getting injured working on those antennas.
Is radiation from cell phone towers a clear health hazard to citizens? Yes, say many individuals who've been diagnosed with cancer and who live in close proximity to cell phone towers.
The problem is that wireless uses microwaves, and that when you microwave people, over time they get sick.
Well, the music business is a mafia, and it's very, very dirty, and people, well, you've seen they die, right? There's this whole thing about star whacking, right? Randy Quaid.
Let me show you what's going on in this little parking lot here in this little shopping center. Check this out above the hardware store.
Benjamin Rivas has worked on cell phone towers for 14 years.
Physically burned my hand.
The burn is a work injury you can see.
What you see here is what I would call an everyday crime.
Other problems he said caused by the towers aren't as easy to spot.
Depression, and I get headaches from time to time, and mood swings and stuff.
There's over 1,000 microwatts per square meter. And once again, if you read the Bioinitiative report, biological effects start at about 3.4 to 6 microwatts per square meter.
Just a year back, Sanjay and Pramod Kashriwal led normal, healthy lives in Jaipur. Today, both are fighting for their lives after being diagnosed with brain cancer within 4 months of each other.
8 of these cell towers have been installed. The plan calls for 176 more. But by a 5-0 vote, the Board of Supervisors put a halt to everything, saying that more study is needed and the concern is far too great. The cancer risks are there. That's what the board was told.
Look, I understand, people don't like being cooked with microwaves. I saw this one tower, I just didn't get a picture of it. It was the most sinister tower I've ever seen. It was not, a cell tower. It was ridiculous.
Was this a bizarre coincidence, or is there a direct link between their condition and the 3 cell phone towers which have been installed just a few feet away from their house?
Rivas is one of 250,000 workers a year. An insurance rating agency said gets too close to these antennas. They act as an open microwave and can cause eye damage, sterility, and cognitive damages.
Check out the Early Childhood Center. Look at this. This is the playground where the kids play. And here's the giant tower that's overlooking where they play. I mean, these are 3 and 4-year-olds.
Does anybody even see these?
Signs are dismissed by workers. This doesn't really say anything beyond this point. The law requires that the workers be made aware of these areas before they get near them. And that's not being done today.
All cell towers can cause cancer. All cell towers can cause neurological illnesses. It doesn't matter if it's an LA Ricks tower or Verizon tower.
More bars, more data, faster speeds. Our desire for all things digital has cellular providers scrambling, and the antennas needed for all of that can emit radiation hot enough to cook human tissue. But no one's warning us about the invisible danger.
This cell phone tower is basically in the backyard of this house. And right here in this neighborhood where human beings are living.
Clearly in the last video we did, you saw the antenna was right on the basketball court and the kids are playing right next to it, not 20 feet away. It's right there. Do you really think 20 feet's even safe enough?
So it's a new concept, and the only way they can accomplish that is by putting cell phone antennas up in all of the fire stations and throughout the county.
And that's exactly what firefighters and the public told the board today they don't want.
They deliver by adding antennas to billboards, commercial and residential rooftops, and parking garages, closer and closer to us.
We're 300, 350%, 400%. When you're over 100, people get injured.
It had all this stuff on it. They tried to make it look like a tree, and it was just basically something to cook people with. It was horrifying to me. And I've seen all these things out there, and I understand we're like the people who are running things.
This is one woman's experience of living on the top floor under cell antennas for 2 months.
A few days later, she got another rash on her arm, and then another small kind of stranger rash, and it was the same thing. And then one day in the kitchen, she was holding something and she dropped it because she said it felt like the blood in her hand went cold.
RF energy coming from antennas can cook the body, much like being inside a microwave oven.
You're going to heat up without doing any physical activity.
Our brains are very sensitive to RF radiation, and it can cause memory loss, mood disorders,
immediately next to the playground where young children play day in and day out, spend a lot of their time. Of course, it reaches into the building as well. What is it doing there when there's known health risks, documented scientific studies?
Radio frequency waves could affect cells in the brain, especially if your skull is thin, for example, if you're a child.
If you've ever put a cell phone to your ear, you should listen to what neurosurgeon Dr. Keith Black has to say.
There's no way to say that cell phone use is safe.
An announcement from a panel of the World Health Organization. A team of 31 scientists from 14 countries said radiation emitted by cell phones is, quote, possibly carcinogenic and may be associated with some risk for brain cancer.
More than 1 in 10 rooftop sites nationwide are in violation of federal safety rules, leaving painters, roofers, maintenance workers, and anyone who accidentally walks by with no idea how to control their exposure.
The people who are running things are like in another civilization where they look like, you know, Star Trek compared to us, right? They have different things they wear, they have different features and different, you know, and they're running things, but God is in control of them as well.
I think that the public has a right to know that there could be a potential risk. The public generally assumes that if one is selling something on the market, that we have had assurances that that device is safe.
So essentially a cell phone is a microwave antenna which generates microwave radiation. And we know that that microwave radiation can penetrate into the brain when you hold a cell phone next to your ear.
In children, their skull is thinner, their scalp is thinner, so the microwave radiation can penetrate deeper into the brain of children and young adults.
In fact, is related to the square of the distance. So the closer, you get a much greater amount of radiation going into the brain.
And see the reading of this.
Again, in the danger zone. What it means is that, you know, the World Health Organization panel of scientists looked at the current available evidence and concluded that the evidence suggests that there is a possible link between cell phone use and brain cancer.
Let's put it this way. What I've seen and what I know is this. We have to cling to God to get through this because they have it all the odds 90 to 1 against us.
Tree. Nice.